In the wake of my sister's sudden passing, my mother transformed into a woman consumed by the fear of death. Her grief over my sister's accident became a relentless pursuit of safety and protection, primarily aimed at me. My sister's life had been cut short in her prime, and my mother was determined not to let the same fate befall me. It was a shift that left our family dynamic forever altered. I was 11 when tragedy struck, and overnight my world changed. My mother, who had once been carefree and spontaneous, became vigilant and overly cautious. Her obsession wasn't with health, like the father in the story you shared, but with safety. She installed the latest security systems in our house, enrolled me in self-defense classes, and turned our home into a fortress. Playdates were scrutinized, and outings were limited to what she deemed safe environments. As I grew older, the protective measures escalated. My teenage years were marked by tracking devices on my phone, background checks on my friends, and curfews that seemed more fitting for a prisoner than a high school student. While I understood her fear, it became suffocating. I felt like I was living in a bubble, isolated from the world and experiences that make childhood memorable. Despite my frustration, there was an underlying guilt for wanting more freedom. After all, my mother was driven by love and the unbearable pain of losing a child. How could I resent her for that? Yet, resentment grew alongside my longing for independence. Our relationship strained under the weight of her fears and my desire for autonomy. The turning point came when I left for college. It was a battle to convince her to let me attend a university out of state, but I needed that distance to grow and live my life. College brought freedom and a breath of fresh air, but also guilt and worry for the anxiety I knew my mother was enduring. We spoke daily, her voice often laden with veiled concern, always reminding me to be careful, to stay safe. Years passed and I found my own way, navigating the world with a blend of my mother's caution and my desire for adventure. I met my partner Alex, and we built a life together, one that was mindful of risks but not ruled by them. When we decided to start a family, I vowed to find a balance between protection and freedom for our children. Then, one autumn evening, my mother arrived at our doorstep, her appearance frail and her energy diminished. The vibrant fear that had once propelled her every action seemed to have burnt out, leaving behind a quiet resignation. She revealed she had been battling a chronic illness in silence, not wanting to add to my burdens. In her final months, she lived with us, a blend of our worlds. I watched as she interacted with my children, her caution replaced with a tender, albeit hesitant, encouragement for their explorations. It was a bittersweet transformation, witnessing her find peace in the very thing she had once feared, life's unpredictable nature. On a chilly morning, with the leaves turning gold outside, she passed away quietly in our home. Her death marked the end of an era, but also the beginning of understanding. In her pursuit to protect me, she had taught me the importance of resilience, of facing life with courage despite its uncertainties. I found myself reflecting on her legacy as I watched my children play in the yard, their laughter a testament to the life that surged around us. My mother's journey from fear to acceptance had been a quiet revolution, one that shaped our family in profound ways. It was a story of love, loss, and the delicate balance between holding on and letting go. And so, as the seasons changed, I found solace in the knowledge that while her protective shadow no longer loomed over us, her spirit remained, guiding us through the joys and sorrows of life with a gentle, unseen hand. The years following my mother's passing were a period of reflection and growth for our family. we navigated the world with a new perspective, one influenced by the lessons she had inadvertently taught us about fear, love, and the importance of embracing life's vulnerabilities. Her protective instincts, which had once felt like chains, now seemed like a complex tapestry of care and concern that we learned to appreciate in a deeper, more nuanced way. As my children grew older, I was determined to strike a balance between my mother's protectiveness and my own experiences of feeling confined. I encouraged them to explore, to take reasonable risks, and to learn from their mistakes. Yet in quiet moments, I found myself echoing my mother's words of caution, her legacy of fear and love intertwined in my advice. It was a delicate dance, one of guiding without stifling, of protecting without imprisoning. Alex, ever the voice of reason and balance, helped me navigate these parenting challenges. Together, we created an environment where our children felt both safe and free, understanding the importance of this balance in fostering their independence and resilience. We shared stories of my mother and sister, their lives and legacies, lessons that shaped our family's values and approach to life. One summer, we decided to revisit the lake my mother had often taken me to as a child, before my sister's death had changed everything. It was a place filled with memories of laughter and joy, but also of loss and what-ifs. As we stood on the shore, watching our children splash in the water, I felt a profound connection to my mother and sister, a sense of their presence in the echoes of the past and the ripples of the present. In that moment, I realized that my mother's journey from fear to acceptance, her final months filled with quiet reflection and moments of joy with her grandchildren, had been her way of coming to terms with the unpredictability of life. She had found peace not by controlling every outcome, but by embracing the beauty of the uncontrollable, by finding joy in the fleeting, precious moments that define our existence. This realization brought a sense of closure and understanding. My mother had done the best she could with the pain and fear that had consumed her. In her own way, she had tried to prepare me for a world that could be both beautiful and brutal. And though her methods were not always ones I agreed with, her intentions were rooted in a love so deep it transcended her own fears. As the sun set over the lake, casting a golden glow over the water, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. My journey as a parent was not without its own fears and uncertainties, but I was armed with the wisdom of those who had walked this path before me. I was determined to live and to teach my children to live not in the shadow of fear, but in the light of love and the embrace of life in all its complexity. The legacy of my mother and sister, their stories woven into the fabric of our family, would continue to guide us. In honoring their memory, we found the strength to face the future with open hearts, to cherish each moment, and to navigate the delicate balance between protecting the ones we love and letting them fly free. This was the essence of the lesson my mother had left us, a lesson not just about the inevitability of loss, but about the enduring power of love and the importance of living fully, even in the face of our deepest fears. As the years passed, and my children ventured into the world, carrying the lessons of their ancestors with a grace that filled me with pride, a part of me remained ever watchful, a silent guardian echoing my mother's legacy of protection. The balance between fear and freedom had become a guiding principle in our lives, a dance we had mastered with love and careful thought. Yet life, with its inherent unpredictability, had a way of reminding us that control was but an illusion. It was during a routine visit to the lake, now a family tradition, that the threads of our carefully woven tapestry began to unravel, revealing the fragility of the peace we had built. The day was as picturesque as any, with the laughter of my children echoing across the water, a testament to the joy we had nurtured in the face of past sorrows. But as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting shadows that danced on the water's edge, an unexpected chill swept through me, a premonition of change in the air. Alex and the children were packing up our picnic when I decided to take one last look at the lake, a moment of solitude to reflect and to feel the presence of my mother and sister and the beauty around me. That's when I noticed it, an envelope, aged and slightly damp, half buried in the sand near where we had been sitting. Curiosity piqued. I picked it up, turning it over in my hands. The handwriting on the front, though faded, was unmistakably my mother's. With trembling hands, I opened the envelope to find a letter written in the final days before her death. In it, my mother confessed to a secret that she had carried with her to the grave, a secret that cast a shadow over the legacy of protection and fear she had left behind. She wrote of a pact she had made long ago, in the depths of her grief over my sister's death, with a force she barely understood, driven by the desperation to keep me safe at all costs. This pact, she believed, had been the source of our family's fortune and safety, but it came with a price, one that she feared would one day come due. As I stood there, the letter shaking in my hands, the pieces of past and present coalesced into a terrifying clarity. The sense of being watched that I had occasionally felt throughout my life, the inexplicable moments of luck that had steered us away from harm, the eerie calm that had settled over my mother in her final months, it all pointed to a reality far removed from the rational world I believed in. The setting sun, once a symbol of peace and closure, now seemed to mock me with its serene departure. I realized that the balance I thought we had found between fear and freedom was built on a foundation more complex and mystical than I could have ever imagined. The legacy of protection, passed down from my mother, was intertwined with a darkness that lurked just beneath the surface of our everyday lives. As darkness enveloped the lake, my heart raced with the implications of my mother's confession. The pact she had made, intended to shield us from harm, had bound our family to a fate I was only beginning to understand. The sense of peace I had felt moments before was shattered, replaced by a gnawing uncertainty about the future. I returned to Alex and the children, the letter concealed in my pocket, a heavy weight against my heart. As we drove home, the laughter and chatter from the back seat were a bittersweet melody, a reminder of what was at stake. The road ahead, once clear and hopeful, was now shadowed by the legacy of a pact made in the depths of despair, a reminder that some secrets have the power to shape our destinies in ways we can never anticipate. The twist of fate revealed by my mother's letter was a stark reminder that the stories we tell ourselves about our past and the legacies we carry forward are often more complex than we realize. And as we navigate the delicate balance between protecting those we love and allowing them the freedom to live their lives, we must also confront the shadows that linger in our family's history, understanding that the true cost of our choices may only be revealed in time. Thank you for listening to my channel.